I'm sure we all know by now that I can talk about my houseplants at length, and I just enjoy talking about them. But since I moved to England, I have a whole new squad of plants. One such over here that you'll be learning about a little later on. And I thought instead of doing another big long meet my plants video, I'd break it up into smaller videos and maybe do a little series that I'm deciding to call my Houseplant Spotlight. I'll introduce you to them one by one, and then I can talk a little bit more about each one's personality and that sort of thing. To start off this series, I'd like to introduce you to my China doll plant. I suddenly feel a bit underdressed. 1 second. What do you think? Do I look the part? Maybe it's a little overkill. Anyway, so this is my China doll plant, and I confess, before I found her, I had never heard of such a thing. Its Latin name is a radermachera sinica. Radermachera sinica? Radermachera? Anyway, something like that. China doll plant. The sinica in its name indicates that it's originally from southern China and places nearby. Technically, a China doll plant is a tree, but it's only been in the past few decades that they've started growing miniature versions and selling them as houseplants. You can kind of see bits of tree-ness in it. If you look very closely at the stem here, it's quite woody. And you get that with a lot of plants, but mostly ones that are originally trees. Now, if I was growing this outside as a proper tree, then there's a chance it would grow flowers. In the right conditions, this would grow long, tubular, white flowers. Now, this one here isn't going to grow flowers anytime soon. It's too small, it's indoors, it just wasn't grown for that purpose. If you look up pictures of full-sized radermachera sinica trees, you can see that they can be huge, just like completely overtaking like apartment block size. As far as care goes, this plant needs a lot of light. Nothing extremely bright or too hot, but quite a lot of light. And when it does get enough light, you can see it starts to have nice glossy leaves, and the leaves are getting bigger and fuller, and I'm really, really thrilled that this one's doing so well. I've read that China doll plants are named this way because they're quite fragile, and they're also very picky. I've been very, very lucky with mine so far. I haven't had much leaf drop, which is a very common reaction that it will have to, say, moving location in the house, or being too cold from a draft maybe, or overwatering, underwatering, repotting. A bit picky, a bit persnickety, but this one here seems to be pretty sturdy and goes with the flow. I guess I got really lucky there. Something very important to keep in mind for a China doll plant is drainage. It really doesn't mind being root bound all that much, so fortunately you won't have to repot it too often, but it can be very susceptible to root rot, so make sure you've got plenty of drainage. I've managed to avoid it somehow, but if you notice that your plant has black tips, that means you're overwatering, so cut back. Because I'd never heard of this plant before, I had to do quite a bit of research to make sure that I could give it the right kind of care and have it in the right conditions. It hasn't been too tricky to look after. I've had quite a bit of luck with this one here, so it's probably like an intermediate level care plant, if you want me to give levels like that or ratings. This was a rescue plant for me. It was completely suffocated by all kinds of extra twigs and bits. So I'm really, really thrilled that all of this new growth has happened, and it's so beautiful and glossy and just such an attractive plant, even without flowers. Theflowerbin.net says it's a good plant for that foo-foo look. Not sure exactly what that... Oh, I guess like this? Probably. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. I haven't yet named my plant, so if you have any name suggestions for such a really sweet creature, then leave me recommendations and possible name options in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this kind of shorter series where I just focus on one plant at a time. I think it's going to be good. Let me know your thoughts, give me a thumbs up if you like this style of video and you'd like to see some more. Also subscribe while you're at it, because why not? That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, take excellent care of yourselves and stay groovy, and I will see you in the next one.